everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here, and do another intermediate Swiss Draft League. If you like the content on this channel, please subscribe and like the videos. Thank you. Alright, Solemn Recruit is the rare, very good card. I've played against it. Super strong. I got destroyed by it actually, so I know it's good. This pack also has more good cards in it though. I like Lifecraft Awakening, but I wouldn't first pick it. The Revolutionary is great. Trophy Mage is very good, a little card advantage. Daring Demolition, of course, removal. I like the Infusion, it's a good combat trick. The Brawler is good, and those are all of the sort of exciting cards out of this pack, I would say. But yeah, let's take the Recruit and be happy about it. All right, follow-up pick. So we have some choices here because there's actually a lot of good cards. The Thopterus is very good. We also have the Chaser, the Swooper, the Infiltrator is on color with our first pick. But I actually really like Release the Gremlins. I think this card's really good. You pay 3 mana, you blow up 1 artifact and get a 2/2. That's great, and everyone after that is just huge value. So I think the upside of this card is actually very, very high, especially in an artifact format. So I'm kind of tempted to just take that here over the Infiltrator, even though Infiltrator is definitely probably fine card, but let's just take powerful cards for our first few picks and kind of see where we're at, because I just know that Release the Gremlins is very good. Very good card. Alright, what do we have now? So we have Druid of the Cowl, we have Merchant's Dockhand, we have Scrounging Bandar, and that's about it. I'm probably fine taking the Dockhand. This thing just draws a card every turn if you can make it work. I am okay with that. So we'll take the Dockhand and continue to sort of feel our way through, see what we're doing. I think Dockhand, the upside on this is quite high. It's also just nice with like improvised spells and stuff like that. Wow. Well, Pacification Array is a great card. There's also a Shock in here. I almost think I like Array more. I think this card is just deceptively really good. It's just really good. No good white card for the Recruit, but I think we'll take the Array over the Shock, even though I think Shock is very good too. This just deals with more things. And like I said, I think maybe some people undervalue it because they don't remember Icy Manipulator or something. But yeah, I mean, this card is great. It's just very strong. Requires a little mana to be left up, but it does what it needs to do. Alright. So what do we have now? We have Siege Modification, which I would like to play someday, but I think we probably just want the Revolution. Kill things. It's also the Blue Implement, a Rebel, a Cavalry. All fine, but let's take the Revolution here. Let's start a Revolution. Okay, so we can take Efficient Construction. I'm willing to try the card out. We only have 2 artifacts, but it's early enough where we could find some more. I'm really not giving up much for it, so it seems like something we could do. We could also take the Leave in the Dust, but maybe it's time we go for like an artifact build. I've been doing Revolt for a while, so maybe we go for the artifact build instead, see if we can make this Efficient Construction work. This card seems so clunky, doesn't it? Why is it so clunky? Well, if we can get enough artifacts, it'll be good, so we can go for the red-blue sort of improvise, red-blue improvise artifact deck. We'll see if we can't make it work. Efficient Construction seems like a good tool for that deck. So just for that reason, maybe we want the Crawler here. Good white cards in this pack. I don't really like Technician all that much anyway, so I think I'm going to take the Crawler. Let's try and build around our Dockhand and Efficient Construction and try and make this red-blue thing work. Alright, so now there's an Automaton, a Brawler, and a Leave in the Dust. Probably want the Brawler. We've got cheap artifacts already, and powering this out on turn 3 could be very good. Otherwise, I feel like Automaton is quite a bit weaker, but it's okay too. I mean, it's working with our construction. We're going to want as many artifacts as we can. But at the same time, we also do want some improvise. So I think I'm going to take the Brawler, just 3/3 menace. If you can ever pay 3 mana for a 3/3 menace, you're doing good. I think we'll take it over the Automaton here. Okay, so we can take the Assembler, which isn't a card I particularly like, but with what we're trying to do, I think it should be fine. And once again, I just really don't like the Technician that much. All right, we'll take the Assembler. Okay. So we have Solvent, another Crawler, and Automaton. I probably want the Automaton here. It's on color, it's cheap. I wouldn't mind another Crawler, but we want the cheap stuff here. And remember, we're going for as many artifacts as we can get. Guess I could take the Walker. Yeah, all right. Don't really want to play it, but I will if I have to. I actually think Negate is better than it has been in other formats, in this format, which is strange because I haven't seen it come up at all. But I mentioned this before. It counters vehicles. So besides the fact that it deals with all the normal targets, it also deals with vehicles. Still, I'm going to take the Night Market card over it because I'm just sort of in the market, no pun intended, for basically just for nice, well-costed artifacts. I could take the Rebel here. Yeah, you know what? Screw Technician. I'm done with it. All right. Another second to last pick Assembler is kind of nice. I just don't really like Technician. It's too expensive. Doesn't do enough. So we're off to a pretty good start. We know what we want to do. We want to play red-blue, improvise artifact deck, trying to utilize efficient construction. So I passed a Shock for a Pacification Array, which I think actually ultimately ended up working out better for our deck. Besides the fact that I think Pacification Array is better than Shock in general, now we have a 1-drop thing that can power out our 4 and 5 mana things, so that's good. Yeah, if we can get enough 1, 2, and 3 mana artifacts, I really think this deck could come together quite nicely. I guess the Recruit is gone. I did want to play it, but we're on to better things. Okay, well, we've got some more choices here, don't we? So we have the Barricade Breaker, which, considering how many artifacts we have, could be quite good. We have the Hope of Girapur, which is okay. Nothing special, though. I don't think it's worth anything either. Could it? Could it possibly be worth anything? No. And there's another Brawler and an Implement. That's about it. So we can take the Breaker. Like I said, this might be a deck where it's good. Hope of Girapur is just a 1-mana 1/1 flyer, so I'm not super impressed with that. We only have 1 blue card, is that right? So maybe we still could be in white, is that true? I don't know though. White-red improvise seems a bit not good. Oh yeah, we have the Dockhand too. Well, Dockhand and Construction might be enough to stick with the blue. Usually blue is not super popular anyway. First picking a Barricade Breaker doesn't really excite me, but it's just... Do I take a Brawler over it because it's cheaper? All right, let's go Brawler instead of Breaker. As much as I actually do like Breaker, I feel like the Brawler ultimately, just because of how much earlier it can come out, is going to be better. So what do we have now? Honestly, this is kind of a weak pack for us too. We'll take the Inventor, I think. I haven't been able to play this card yet, so I would like to play it. And it kind of sticks with our same plan. Okay, so we just prioritize getting some cheap artifacts, and we're going to be able to power out all of these improvised guys. I like it. This is my first real foray into this archetype, so I'd like to see how well it can perform. Treasure Keeper is a great card. We're looking clunky, which I don't like. Battle at the Bridge is a great card, but can I splash for it? I'm not entirely convinced this is worth splashing. It is a removal spell, though. I probably just want the Treasure Keeper. It's just exactly what we're looking for. A nice, high value. The problem is we have too many... We could kind of look at the Brawlers as 3-drops and maybe look at these as like 4-drops. I'll just try and lower all of my improvised guys by 1. I'm hoping that makes the curve look a little bit better. So let's take the Treasure Keeper here. Well, another efficient construction, or we can take the Automaton. There's also a Shock. Jeez. Well, I mean, as much as I want to play another efficient construction, we're already clunked out pretty bad here. So I might take the Shock over the Automaton, even though I really do need the Automaton for all of this improvised stuff. Our removal is currently what? A Pacification Array, a Release, a Revolution. That's not bad. I feel like Automaton's pretty important for our deck. We need, like I said, we need as many artifacts as we can. I might have to just take a synergy card over a good removal spell here, just because look at how many improvised cards we have to power out. We have a lot. We have a lot of improvised. We have to power out 5. So these are basically ramp spells in our deck, which I think is just really important. So as much as I want the shock, I think our deck actually needs cheap artifacts more, or else we're going to be way too clunky. So I can take the implement here. I think that's probably fine, actually. I don't really like this implement all that much, but otherwise it's another brawler, which I guess would be fine too. There's also another crawler, but we're good on 4 drops. I could take the ice over. I guess that's removal. It's not great removal, though. I think I'm just going to take the implement here. Get another artifact. Okay, 3rd Automaton. There is an Enraged Giant, which is good too. But we're going to just go super deep on cheap artifacts because our deck really needs it. This is a bit of a miss, right? Could take the Shipwreck Moray. It's a fine card. It's just not really what our deck wants to do. But I mean, there's nothing in. I'm not going to play I'm not going to play a 1-mana 1/1 artifact. That doesn't seem good. And implement, if we can't crack it, it's not good. I guess we could take the Prize Fighter, but Moray seems better. I think either one's not going to make the deck, so we'll just take that. Okay, now we can take the Watchful Automaton. There isn't a gate. There's also an implement. Yeah, we might want the implement. We have 14 creatures already. I think Automaton's fine, though. There's also destructive tampering, which is good. But we might just want the Automaton. I'm going to take Automaton over implement, I think. Well, we get one anyway, which is actually really good news for us. So we're starting to look better. We've got a lot of cheap artifacts, which is exactly what we wanted. Now we can take the Precise Strike over the Infestation, get a nice combat trick, taking it over Consulate Turret. All right, now we'll take the Negate. I might actually play it. I think the Reservoir Walker can go at this point. We probably just don't need it. So we've got a good game plan going. A lot of artifacts. We're going to try out the Efficient Construction. We're going to be able to power out our 3/3 Menace dudes and our Assemblers. So I don't think Assembler is very good. I've mentioned this before, but that's okay. So yeah, we're like a Chief of the Foundry away from having a pretty strong looking deck here. Another Consulate Turret, huh? Well, I guess I'll take it. I don't need a second Negate. All right, Crawler came back. We'll take it. All right, Scuttler. It's on color, but I don't think we're going to play it. Okay. So we've got a game plan. I haven't really done the improvised deck before either, so this is a good opportunity. I doubt Concealed Courtyard's worth anything. It's worth a ticket. So what do we have instead? We can take a Theorist. There's a Torch Gauntlet, but we just want the Welding Sparks because it's kind of perfect for our game plan. It's going to be able to deal with pretty much everything in our deck, so that's great. What are the cards I want to cut? I probably don't want double Filigree Crawler. Probably don't need to main deck the Negate. But I want to keep his... Yeah, we probably don't need the Rebel. We're going to stick to our consistency plan here, right? So that means as many artifacts as possible. So we can cut non-artifacts. I think we can cut one of our Crawlers just because we're already pretty clunks McGrunks in the 4-drop already. But let's take the Sparks and be happy about it. Ooh, Pia? That's just perfect for our deck. There's also a Prism in here, which I would happily take. I would play the Malfunction, maybe. Actually, I probably wouldn't, just because we're already so 4-drop heavy. But still, getting past the Pia is just amazing news for us. So this deck is looking pretty. I do like it. Pia is just going to be insane in this deck. Very, very good. Gives us an Improvise, Ramper, lets us pump all of our million dudes, lets us get by all their blockers. Yeah, I mean, talk about the perfect rare for what we've built here. I think Night Market Guard might be able to go if I can find some more artifact upgrades. Ooh, Bomat Courier too. You know, I actually like Bomat Courier. There is an Aether Meltdown though, which is really good too. We don't need the energy, but still just 2 mana lockdown. I think because of the amount of improvise I have in the synergy, I'm just going to take the Courier. I do think there's a solid argument for Meltdown here too, though. I think it's a great combat trick removal spell. But this is on color. I've had good experiences with Courier outside of artifact decks, and since we're absolutely an artifact deck and one that wants to power out all of these dudes as cheaply as possible, I think we got to take it here. It's just very good. So we've got a Whirler Maker, but I probably want the Pyrohelix. Get another removal spell. There's a Sky Whale, but we're good on 4 drops. I think we'll just take the Pyrohelix. Mastodon would be fine too, actually. And now we're going to have to start looking at more things to cut. I think a Filigree Crawler, like I said, we're just going to drop the curve a little. Well, would I prefer the Assembler or the... Well, probably the Assembler. I don't know. But we'll take the Pyrohelix here. Another Sky Whale. Can take the Goggles. There's a Malfunction. There's a Whirler Maker. And there's a Sky Whale. I see. I don't think we have many Artificers, right? We've got Pia. Oh, wait. These are Artificers? Well, that's kind of awesome, actually. These aren't. These aren't. So we're still... I mean, this seems to always happen when I play Blue-Red. Blue-Red is the perfect color combination for Inventor's Goggles, but I never end up with as many Artificers as I would like. I feel like Whirler Maker's a little bit too slow. It's cool with Improvise, but it's just clunky enough where I don't like it. And Grubs is just good because it's a 2-drop, but it's not exactly what our deck wants to do. I'm going to take the Goggles. Okay, Eager Construct. I think we take that over the Monitor just because I'm looking for more cheap artifacts. I really like both of them. I like Monitor more than Construct in a vacuum, but I think for our deck we're just going to go for the more efficient dude here. Yeah, you know what? This is definitely a Shrewd Negotiation deck. Steal your better creature. Give you a... I don't know, a Thopter maybe, or an Implement or something like that. I could see that coming up. We'll take it over the Artist. It's a pretty good spell for our deck, I think. Okay, we can take the Puzzle Knot. We might actually main deck it. There's a Workshop Assistant, which technically is good for our deck, but I think I'll take the Puzzle Knot instead. Okay, well, P-Foul is certainly playable. Do I like it more or less than a Filigree Crawler? I think I like it more than a Crawler. I'd rather pay 4 mana for a 2/4 that can fly than a 2/2 that gives you a 1/1. Yeah, that makes sense. And we'll take it over the Torch Gauntlet. We already have the Inventor's Goggles. Okay. Skygate seems fine for us. We're not going to play these other two. Alright, Trade Winds. We're actually getting pretty playable cards here, which is nice. I guess technically this is a Wingsmith deck, but I don't think it's going to make it. Windrake that we're not going to play. Alright, so some definite cool things going on with this deck. Cool thing number 1, we have a bajillion artifacts, which makes all of our improvised cards that much stronger. Bad things going on with this deck. I wish I had a little more beef. We're a little bit lacking on the beef side. We have some evasion though, right? The Brawlers are invasion. We have the removal. We have Revolution. Pacification Array. I actually like Cathartic Reunion, but we just don't have space for it. So we have a million artifacts. We have Welding Sparks too. So Welding Sparks, Chandra's Revolution, Pacification Array is already a pretty good removal suite. That's going to be able to deal with everything. So we can deal with everything. We have this Efficient Construction, which is a decent late game plan for our deck. Just from the sheer quantity of artifacts we have. We have to make a ton of cuts, just a massive amount of cuts here. So let's figure this out. I think we can probably cut Reunion. I think the Precise Strike Strike can go. I think Trade Winds can go, even though I like it. We're just basically trying to get rid of cards we don't need. 6, 10, 11. So I wouldn't mind cutting 3 more of these and then maybe 4 creatures. And that should give us the deck we're looking for here. So I think Wingsmith can go. It does evade often in our deck, but we're good on 4 drops. Even though I don't really like the Assemblers, this looks like a deck where we can power them out for 3 mana most of the time. I'm assuming. Maybe 4 mana. And then the Inventor. I'm probably just going to try and get away with 16 lands if I can. We'll see. Because it seems like I'm going to have a hard time cutting things after a while here. So I have implements that I feel like I want to play. The blue one is pretty clunky, but it's one of the few ways we have to draw in our deck. I kind of want to cut the second crawler, even though I don't really want to cut a lot of artifacts. Cutting the crawler kind of makes sense to me, I think. So yeah, I think I want to cut 3. What are 3 non-creature spells to cut? So I could cut... Let's look at the 3 weakest cards. I really like Shrewd Negotiation in here. Like I said, I feel like trading one of our weak guys for like an Automaton or something for your beefy dude could be a game winner. So I feel like the upside of Shrewd Negotiation is quite big. Huh. It's a bit challenging. I'm going to have to make some serious cuts here. Maybe Night Market Guard can go in this Consulate Skygate, I guess. See, the problem is both of these cards are artifacts, which does make our Brawler, Inventor, and Assemblers cheaper. But on the other hand, they're not that good. They're probably the weakest creatures we have, probably. I'm assuming they're the weakest creatures if I have to cut 2, which I think I do want to cut 2. We still have like just a bajillion artifacts though. We have 16 artifacts. Yeah, that's, I mean, more than, well, I guess not more than half of our deck, but more than half of the spells in our deck are going to be triggering efficient construction, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I got to cut 3 more or 2 more spells if I want to run 16 lands, which honestly I really do feel like we can do that. So I could cut the Goggles, and the only reason I would cut the Goggles, maybe I cut an Implement instead. We don't have any card advantage outside of the, that's not true, we have the Dockhand too. Maybe the red one is just better because it powers out our 4 drops. Yeah, there's a solid argument there. So maybe we just cut the blue Implement. It's a little bit clunky anyway. Not a little bit, it is clunky. And then we want to cut 1 more card. It's either Puzzle Knot or Implement, maybe. Why am I keeping the Goggles? I guess because these are Artificers. This is an Artificer, this is an Artificer. So we have 4 Artificers, which really isn't that many, but you can equip it to other things too. Like I like the fact that you can power out an Artificer. Well, I guess you can't because all of our Artificers are non-artifacts, huh? They're not improvised, I mean. Huh. Well, I do like that it's a 1-drop that can power out like an Assembler. I might just cut the red Implement too. Keep the Goggles. It's probably more upside than just dealing a damage and drawing a card. Probably. Something like this. Curve looks pretty good. I know it looks expensive, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Which means these Brawlers are almost assuredly going to be 3 mana. We have 9 2-drop or less artifacts, which is just a ton. I think the Assemblers are going to be 4 mana or 3 mana often enough. Inventor, same thing. Probably 5 mana, like where it is. So I think this is a more accurate portrayal about what the curve of our deck looks like. Even though, you know, these are more expensive than this is showing. But all in all, I don't know exactly how good this deck is because we actually do have good removal. We have a decent late game plan, right? We have construction, which will pump out some Thopters. P is great. Release the Gremlins can be very good. It can just kill important vehicles and artifacts and hook you up with some 2/2s. Can be a big swing. Shrewd Negotiation can steal some things. We have card advantage. We have removal. We have some evasion with the brawlers, but not a lot. Admittedly, the P foul too and the construction. So we have some late game plan. This deck looks okay to me. I actually think this deck looks pretty good. But we'll have to see how it plays. So we'll run it like this. Oh, I suppose we probably should play lands, right? We should probably play lands. Oh, that's another huge upside of this deck. We have like practically no colored mana needed. So we'll probably just try and get away with 9/7. Although this requires red, this requires blue, red. Automatons don't need it. I guess this doesn't technically need it too. This kind of needs it to be good. This requires blue to be good. Automaton definitely requires blue to be good. Maybe we do end up just doing 8/8. We don't really need blue. Well, all right. I'm going to stick with my initial instinct and do 9/7. Okay. So, red, blue, improvise. I think this deck looks okay. It's got some cool things going for it, so I kind of like it. Yeah, we'll run it like this. We'll see you round 1.